What's up guys, Houndish here, and today we are jumping in with a breakdown of the roadmap as we know it for episode 2 of Destiny, or should we say Revenant, the current episode or season thing that we got going on now. In this video, we're going to break down some of the key dates for this episode. Of course, most of them correlating with new activities, bits of content, acts for the episode drop-in, but also various events, whether they're seasonal things like Festival of the Lost, and recurring events like Iron Banner. There are plenty of dates to be aware of this episode for both activities and rewards, so we're going to break it all down in the video. As always, I hope you find this one useful. Get subscribed if you do and you want to see more Destiny content, but without further delay, let's get into it. And so of course, Revenant is now live. This video is going up in week 1. And the other major event to happen this week will of course be on October 11th with the launch of the Vespers Host Dungeon. We now got a trailer for that. It certainly looks pretty cool. Of course, it will be contest mode over the course of the weekend, and completing it during that first 48 hours will guarantee a drop of Icebreaker, so that's pretty nice. Good luck if you are jumping in, but of course, beyond that, we are into week 2, starting October 15th. So looking at the season challenges for the week of the 15th, there's still one to complete part 2 of Act 1, Elixir Rescue. All of those quest steps have become available during the first week though. I should mention, for week 2, challenges indicate that we're going to see Rift return to the Crucible, so one to be aware of if you want to jump into that. Otherwise, on Friday when Xur returns, which of course will be October 18th, we'll get the Xur Skimmer, the Xurf board, which Xur will be selling for 97 strange coins. And DMG also confirmed that October 18th will see the return of Trials of Osiris for this episode. So of course there'll be some new things to go after there. Otherwise though, given that Garden of Salvation has been updated, or the weapons have been updated at least, that will be one of the featured raids for week 2 as well. So if you want to farm for any of those weapons, it's going to be a good time to do it. Also, there's a new Garden of Salvation memento that can be earned in the raid, so just something to keep in mind right there. Next up though, we're going into week 4, or at least that is when we have the next set of notable dates for the game. That will be October 29th, when we'll see the return of Grandmaster Nightfalls. And of course, per act, we're seeing Grandmasters featuring 3 strikes at a time. So the first 3 gems will feature starting October 29th. But another big one that week will be the return of Festival of the Lost for 2024. And as we've seen, there's a new juicy armor set, the wizard-themed sets, which will be coming out alongside that event, a new weapon, and otherwise plenty of cosmetics. So that will drop on October 29th. Moving forward to week 5 though, which will be November 5th, we see the return of Iron Banner for 2 weeks. Now, Iron Banner this time around does get a new armor set, as well as a couple of weapons, one updated and one brand new. Plus something else interesting for the Iron Banner when it returns is the introduction of an Iron Banner memento. You can see the icon for that right there, which looks pretty cool, with a kind of wolf's head with flames coming out of it. So I'm sure there'll be a few interesting things to look out for with Iron Banner's return. Beyond that, the next set of notable dates that we know of at the moment will be week 7, the 19th of November, when Act 2 of Revenant begins. Now, Bungie indicated that a fan favorite activity, a reprised Prison of Elders, which we now know is called Tomb of Elders, will be the featured activity for Act 2. So presumably that will start on the 19th of November. Plus with the act being updated, there'll be a new Nightfall rotation of 3 featured strikes. And of course there'll also be weekly challenges there to complete the Act 2 story. Moving on to week 8 though, the 26th of November, the seasonal challenges indicate that Iron Banner returns again. I don't think that's likely to be the case because Iron Banner will have only ended a couple of weeks prior to that. Bungie have probably moved some things around behind the scenes. So it's possible Iron Banner returns, but I wouldn't assume that to be the case based on what the seasonal challenges say. Week 9 though is December 3rd, and Mayhem will return to the Crucible that week. That's just a brief mention. But heading to week 10 of the episode, which will be December 10th, firstly there will be a seasonal challenge to win multiple rounds in Trials of Osiris, and that will grant a Trials weapon. So that might be useful for some folks. But we're also going to see the Dawning event sometime around then. It will either be week 10, which will be December 10th, or possibly week 11 on December 17th. And otherwise, Act 2 will kind of play out over the holiday period, leading us to the next set of important dates starting in January. So week 14 of the episode, which is January 7th, is when we'll see the launch of Act 3. Now it isn't specifically confirmed that the Exotic Mission will launch in Act 3 of this episode, but given that Bungie have confirmed the Tomb of Elders will be the featured activity for Act 2, much like we saw with the first episode, it's safe to assume on that basis that the Exotic Mission for Revenant will drop at the start of Act 3, and we know that that's called Kel's Fall. There's also been a preview in the past couple of days of potentially what will be the exotic for that mission. But alongside that, with Act 3 launching, we'll get the next set of steps or story components, which will be called Kell of Kells, according to the weekly challenges. Also on that week, we'll get the Darkest Nightfall challenge, which can award a bonus Nightfall weapon. So there will be a few things going on that week. And then for week 15, which is January 14th, we get the very final week of seasonal challenges. You can see those on the screen. Presumably though, in these weeks, we'll also be continuing to get upgrades for the exotic mission weapon, and that'll run over the weekly reset for January 14th and probably the 21st of January as well. And from there, we will only be 2 or 3 weeks, I believe, out from the launch of Heresy, which is the 3rd episode for the year. And so there we have it. If Bungie give us any more specific details about events or things to be aware of that aren't listed in this video, I will of course be sure to let you guys know. But for the moment, that's the full breakdown of how this season is going to play out in terms of the calendar and roadmap. So I hope this has been useful. And as always, let us know in the comments section which bits of content you're most excited for, whether it's the upcoming activities, rewards like the exotic weapon, of course the dungeon, or any of the seasonal events. Give us your thoughts in the comment section, but if you have found the video useful, a rating helps us on the channel as well. Plus, if you want to be kept up to date, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so I can keep you posted. Otherwise though, as always, thank you for tuning in, and I hope you guys have an awesome day.
I bring a gift, reborn through extinction. Risen, I scorn.
A new species of scorn are hunting Elixni across the system.
Once he finds you, it's too late. Vicral must be stopped.
Stand against those who would cast us into ruin. Defend our people. But against the dead, killing is not enough. I name you Slayer Baron. Carve a future for the living from the bones of the dead. We are beyond death.